the radio station with style and groove. Groove and style depends on what comes first for you. This is our radio station, the station of our capital city. My name is Annkio Briggs, and it is your program. It is Saving the Niger Delta with Annkio Briggs. Good morning, everybody. Today we will, I want to first of all dedicate this program to a great friend, a great brother, a great son of River State, Niger Delta, a great son of the great Ogoni people of Bodo City, Patrick Nagbaton. I was informed a week ago or thereabout that Patrick had been involved in an accident, and that he thanked God that he was better. He was in a coma, and that he was out of coma. And I was discussing with the person that told me, and thanking God and saying that we should find time, that I will make out time to go and see Patrick. I met Patrick in around 1998. I met him in era of his environmental right action with people like the late Toronto Douglas, Isaac Oswaka, Felix Diodolo, Nimo Bassi, people like Annkio, people like Ledumite, so many people that I met with Patrick, and they were already highly involved in the process in 1998 when I came back home, and I joined them in the Abacha era, IYC, mobilizing after the brutal murders of Ken Sarawiwa and his people, and the attacks on the Ogoni people, Rumo Echem, and all those things, was when I, my humble self, joined all these great people. And Patrick Nagbaton has stood out in who he is as a person, in the things that he believes in. He's one of those, Patrick is one of those people, and I wouldn't say is one of those people that you can rely on, that says what he means and means what he says. He's one of those people that I know categorically have not involved himself in using the platform of the struggle, the environment, or anything to enrich himself as a person. He's very credible. I met him along with people like Carl later on, and so I am really devastated, along with my brothers and sisters in the environmental activism community that I came to meet and joined us later. It is really painful that somebody like Patrick would be lost at this time. He's too young. He has so much to give, so much. He has so much to give to the Niger Delta, to the world, in fact, on the issues of environment and credibility, of the rights of our people, of human rights, that I can't, along with my brothers and sisters in the line of activism, I don't think that we will ever get over the loss of Patrick. And I think that the only way is to make sure that his memory lives on. He has gone to be with the great people that he admired so much himself. People like Dakaboro, people like his own person, Ken Sarawiwa, so many others, Claude Ake, that have contributed immensely to where we are today, Ronto Douglas and people like that. He has gone to be with such great people that have died before, I believe, before they had really, in our view anyway, had finished, because we are left to carry on. But in the little contribution, in the time, over 20 years that Patrick, because I came to meet him and I've been here for 20 years now, so he definitely, I've given him more than 20 years of his time and effort and life to the great work that he has accomplished. And the only thing we can do now to honor Patrick is to make sure that we emulate him. We do the things that he has stood for and have given his life for and have sacrificed his life for, and that we even do it better, because he has done what he can do. He can't come back and do anymore. And really and truly, may his soul, his sweet and gentle, very strong soul, rest in peace. And I comfort and condole his family, his friends, and the whole environmental activist community and the human rights community. Patrick, we miss you so much, and we will forever miss you so much. And I think that missing is what will ginger us on. And again, to his wife and his young family, God bless you and give you the grace to be able to bear this immense loss. If I feel like this, I don't know how. I can't even begin to imagine how his family feels. Rest in peace, Patrick. All right. So having done that and used it to kind of ease my own personal pain at the death of Patrick, I dedicate this program to Patrick Nagbaton. First of all, I want us to look at 2019. We're still in 2019. Even the government has not settled in, and I think perhaps quite, in my opinion, perhaps quite rightly so, because the issues of the election of 2019, the major election of 2019, a lot of the senatorial ones and House of Assembly and whatever, governorship election, quite a lot of them have been settled, and so governance can move on in most cases. The one that has not been settled is the presidential election. So it is amazing, and I think it demonstrates to the world, and should demonstrate to you and I, especially as electorates, that the people who we give our political powers to exercise on our behalf, not over us, on our behalf, especially at the federal level, are still joking with us. They're still playing with us. And it's sad that we, the electorate, don't know this, and the ones that do know this seem to have accepted it. I refuse to count myself amongst the people that don't know, and I refuse to count myself among the people that have accepted. We're in 2019. We have not concluded on the court case about truly who won the election, despite the announcement and the issues that surround the court cases have not been settled. And yet, we in Nigeria are caught up in talking about another election in 2023. And arguing about who is going to be and who is not going to be. People are getting up to make very annoying statements like power will remain with the North, and then based on what they have planned before this time, because Nigerians, and especially southern Nigeria, including all the 3 zones of the southern Nigeria, have found themselves in a place where they accept certain things and argue on them when they are honestly quite unnecessary. Quite unnecessary in the sense that the Constitution says one thing, and if we are still working and we have not changed the 1999 Constitution and we accept it and we're working with it, and we have not amended all the sections that we're disagreeable with or to, I think it is unbelievable, especially to people from other countries, quite honestly, and politicians really from other countries. When we are discussing, somebody will get up and say, we do not want zoning anymore. You want zoning when zoning favors you, and then when it doesn't favor you, you don't want zoning anymore. In 2015, you wanted zoning. 2017, 2015, you wanted zoning because it suited you. And now you don't want zoning because it doesn't suit you, because people think 4 years or 8 years is very far. It's not very far. Especially when people are suffering. It's not very far. It will come. It will eventually come and go. 4 years have come and gone. Another 4 years will come and go. Whether Buhari continues based on judgment, or whether Atiku takes over based on judgment. Whatever the judgment will be, nobody knows. But whatever the judgment will be in another 2 or 3 months' time, we are discussing and wasting time in 2019, discussing 2023. What type of people are Nigerians? What type of people, you and I? What type of people are you? Because I refuse to put myself in that type of people, because I think it is offensive and deceptive, and they're fooling. The song says you cannot fool all the people all of the time, but in Nigeria, actually, you can fool all of the people, but except me, minus Annkio Briggs. You can fool all of the people all of the time. How can you be discussing 2023? One, we have accepted in this country for now that we are zoning the presidency. Now, in 1999, Obasanjo was the president. He did 8 years. He's from the southwest. In 27, Yaradua took over, and unfortunately he died. Jonathan was his vice. He took over for 1 year, as finishing the tenure that his principal had, and then he was elected for the first time in his own right as president of Nigeria in 2011. Now, Buhari came and stood election against Jonathan on another political party, and Buhari became the president. So it was not because we have accepted that there is no more zoning. It is because we are told that the people, the electorate of Nigeria, voted Jonathan out. And so Buhari has done 4 years. The 2019 election is not concluded, so we don't know how it will go. But even if Atiku is given the mandate, he's still from the north. So even if Buhari finishes the 4 years which he has, and another northerner takes over, doesn't matter which of the northern zones he comes from, it is still a northern turn. And so quite honestly, Atiku himself if he had won this election, would only be doing 4 years anyway, because Buhari had already done the first 4 years of the northern term. And so if Atiku had won at the first instance and they're not in court, in my opinion, by 2023, Atiku would leave the stage, because the North has done its 8 years. Because the election of who the North or the South brings, which of the zones, is not determined by the person. It is determined by the turn, by the zoning. So we need to understand these things and discuss them. So, for instance now, if Buhari continues and he ends in 2023, which he will, you cannot tell me it is not acceptable. There is no discussion. We will not accept it. We should not accept it. That people are getting up and saying the North will hold power forever. No, the North will not hold power forever. The North will only hold power forever if the South allows it. If not, it is unfair and unacceptable that it should be like that. That is one. Two, the other aspect of it is that when people are discussing and planning that, oh, it will go to the southwest. No, it will not go to the southwest. If it comes, it should come to the south in 2023. Mind you, let me put a caveat here. I'm not discussing this because I have accepted that 2023 election even is feasible. I have my doubts, personally. I have my doubts. So now, if in 2023, and it should be in 2023, that the political parties will choose a northern candidate if there is going to be an election, and if things remain the way that they are, then all the fights that we've been fighting is a wasted effort. It's a wasted effort in the sense that in 2023, the political parties should not be allowed to bring any other candidates but a southern candidate. The South amongst themselves should now know from what of the zones that candidate should come from. If the Southwest have done 1999 to 2007 in the person of Olusegun Obasanjo, and if the South have done 2011 to 2015, 4 years, and if you include the 1 year that he was sworn in on the 6th of May after Yaradua died, and he stood for election in 2010, and he stood for election in 2011, and he was sworn in 29th of May 2011. That's 1 year. Now, if you add that 1 year, for the sake of, let's not fight over it, for the sake of that, you add that 1 year to the 4 years, it's 5 years. So the South have done 5 years. As a Niger Delta person, if my geopolitical zone have done 5 years, I would say that we still need to do the 3 extra years to make it 8. But since we have already done 1 and it is now 5, personally, I will say let it go. So if you let it go and you say the Southwest has done 8, the South have done 5, not 6. I don't know how people count, but it's not 6, it's 5. So if the South have done 5, then the remaining zone in the whole of southern Nigeria is the Southeast. The people of Ndigo ethnic nationality. In that case, there is no discussion, there is no argument. The whole of Southwest and South Niger Delta should, without any argument, encourage the Igbos to bring the best of what they have on both parties, on 2 or 3, all the political parties, if justice is to be seen, to be done, and if justice is to be done. So that issue, for me, discussing and fighting, and people proposing themselves from the southwest, and people in the north gyrating, if you like, and threatening that power, they don't see anything wrong. Elders of the north are saying they don't see anything wrong in the power remaining in the north. The youths are saying power must remain in the north. People behave as if we don't have elders in the south. We don't have youths in the south. No, this issue of 2023, as a matter of fact, for me as a person, 2023 and the organization Niger Delta Self-Determination Movement, the 2023 discussion is a waste of time. It's a waste of time because there should not even be a discussion of 2023 if we are thinking of going into 2023 first with the 1999 Constitution. And second, if we have not resolved the issue of federalism, if we have not resolved the issue of if we have restructured Nigeria or not restructured Nigeria, I, as a Niger Delta person, I believe, and I will stand on this, that if we do not and are unable to change the 1999 Constitution by all of us sitting down to write a constitution for ourselves, one, and two, if we do not agree to restructure Nigeria, that it becomes a federated country in practice, that it is run by true federalism, and we have not changed the constitution, then we cannot have a 2023 election. Because what we are therefore saying to the world is that in 2019, we of the South, we of the Niger Delta have already accepted that the unjust and unfair governance that we have been enduring since independence, that not only are we prepared to continue to endure it, and I am not part of that we, that not only is the South and the south of Nigeria, Niger Delta, and Igbo people and Yoruba people, not only are we agreeing that we're prepared to endure it from forever and ever, we are prepared to sacrifice our children and their children and their children, and that they should come and fight for the slavery that we are putting them in today in 2019, by already accepting that there is a 2023 without making the changes for justice and equity and liberty. We have to agree at the very minimum that Nigeria must be restructured before 2023. But I am of the thinking today, along with other people, that as much as I know that that is the best thing for Nigeria, that people who do not want the interests of Nigeria, who want their own personal interests, have decided that they will not accept the restructuring of Nigeria. So if we put that aside and actually we give ourselves a timeline that Nigeria must be restructured, and if Nigeria is not restructured, and we are still working with this 1999 Constitution, where even the president is trying so hard to take over the waterfront and the water and the rivers and the creeks of the people of the Niger Delta and any other people that have water, then it shows very, very clearly that either the people of the South are prepared and have accepted that they are slaves in Nigeria, and that they will do nothing about this injustice, and they are prepared that in come 2023 that power will remain with the North. Because if we want to be just and fair, and if we have agreed that Nigeria is to be changed the way that everybody is equal, then we can begin to discuss 2023. But if we are not going to be able to show that that is our position, then I think the people who are discussing 2023 are part of the problem. And I don't care if that person is my dead father. If you are prepared to discuss 2023 without conditions and without achieving those terms and conditions, then unfortunately you are part of the problem of Nigeria, you're part of the problem of the Niger Delta people, you're part of the problem of Igbo people, you're part of the problem of the Yoruba people. It doesn't matter who you are or what party you belong to. And very quickly, the president is at the 74th United Nations outing, and one of the key things, apart from so many, he touched on many things: security, development, poverty, planting of trees by youths of Nigeria. Instead of finding them jobs, they're now going to be planting trees. Fine. But in all of these things, the environmental aspect of it, when I heard, when I listened to the environmental aspect of it, I didn't even bother to finish listening, quite honestly, because you cannot, as a president of Nigeria, or anybody safe, if you're in Nigeria, go and speak on the issue of global warming and what you will do and what you're doing towards bringing global warming down, when every day the footprint of global warming, the contribution of Nigeria as a country by allowing gas flaring between the federal government and the oil companies, by allowing gas flaring alone, I'm not even talking about the environmental devastation of over 50 years and the environmental devastation that the armed personnel of different arms, civil defense, JTF and all of this, they are contributing to the environmental devastation along with the people who are doing fire crudely, by setting the things that they have, the boats and the things that they have caught, the products that they say they have seized and arrested or whatever they do, by setting it on fire and by throwing it into the creeks, into the river. You're further devastating this very environment that our president is saying, telling the world what his government is doing and not doing about the environment. Having lived through the devastation of the Niger Delta environment from my childhood, from when Shell and all these people started devastating our land and our waters and our rivers and starving us in the process, because it is our food, it is the source of our food and our air and our life and our lives. By allowing this to go on, and the government being a 60-40 partner, is actually very culpable in the fact that our environment is devastated to this level that it is devastated. So for the very culprit, that is the federal government, to go to an international forum like the United Nations and to speak on what it is doing to join the rest of the world to safeguard the environment, is at best a misguided position. And at worst, it is not true, that Nigeria as a government will be able to do anything to save the environment of the Niger Delta, not to talk of contribute to the saving of the environment of the world. If the world is depending on Nigeria to be a contributory factor in reducing global warming, I think the world will be foolish. But I also know that the world itself does not believe, the UN does not believe Nigeria. Nigeria, when it comes to oil and gas devastation, when it comes to extractive industry devastation, Nigeria is ranking amongst the world. There is no other country, not that I don't think, there is no other country that is as devastated environmentally through the extractive industry, specifically oil and gas. There is no other country that is as devastated as Nigeria. In 2015, before 2015, when this government came in, the major slogan it used in the Niger Delta was that it will clean up Ogoni spill. I continue to say it. By just focusing on Ogoni spill, it is taking away the reality of what it has done. It is pretending that it has not devastated the whole of Niger Delta. The federal government and their partners, the oil companies, have devastated the whole of the Niger Delta. There is no state that is not affected by the devastation. There is hardly a local government that is not affected directly or indirectly by the devastation, either through the soil or through the water or through the air. So the whole of the Niger Delta is devastated. Our people are sentenced to a life sentence of death by this activity. So for Nigeria to be saying that it is part of it to solve the problem is not true. Nigeria is part of the problem. So at that point, the numbers are, okay, it's clearer now. The numbers are 0819 8588 155, 080 92 89 5620, 0818 85 88 155. Okay, those are the numbers, and the lines are open. We have 15 minutes or more, just about less than 20 minutes of contribution. Okay. Hello, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Please move away from your radio. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
All right, my name is Pastor Daniel.
Okay.
All right, I'm calling from Woji.
Woji, okay, sir, go ahead.
All right, so I had your conversation, about what lieutenants are saying, about 2019. As for me, my contribution that we South and Southeast to know that we are not one in this country. In the federalizing, the way they do things, the appointment, that we are not one in this country. And for me, an opinion that I want discussion in this country, or we separate and go out from Nigeria.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's a good point. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Hello. Okay. All right. Well, that's straight to the point. No preambles. Nothing. That's good. It saves us time too. All right. So the issues are the foolishness, if you like, in discussing 2023 in 2019, when it is clear cut, and also the issue of the environmental devastation of the Niger Delta, and also I think that also the president once again touched on the issue of the self-determination of the Palestinian people, which is the right of the Palestinian people to demand under whatever circumstances they find themselves. So if those rights are available to the Palestinians, then I don't see why those rights are not going to be available to Nigerian ethnic nationalities. And so again, for our president to be pushing for the self-determination of Palestinians in our name, not in his own personal name, he's there as the president of Nigeria. And so if he's demanding, hello? So if he's, if he's demanding for the freedom of the Palestinians at the United Nations, which he has done repeatedly since he became the president, then I think that it is unfair and unjust and unacceptable that this same Nigeria that is hello.
Good morning to you, dear Amazon.
Good morning, my brother. How are you? Where are you calling from, and what's your name for people who don't know?
Well, for now, I know they well.
Get well.
And my name, really gift, location, not fruit. Dear Amazon.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's unfortunate. They say it's an abomination for you to stand inside water and use spittle to wash your face.
Yes.
And that is what is happening here. Because if my president is clamoring for the independence of the Palestinians, and yet, for those persons here who want to clamor or agitate, at least sometimes not for independence per se,
yes,
at least for better package, you know, for better spread of Nigeria's wealth.
Yes.
They are attacked as terrorists, as whatever, negative, and proscribed.
Yes.
Well, my brothers should know that what is good for Adamu and Garuba should be good for Tamna and Okubo.
And for Okoro and Okonkwo.
Exactly.
And for Tunde and
Ishola. Well, on this other issue, 2023.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate anyway. Like you said, the issues surrounding the 2019 elections have not been resolved completely. And yet, posters have already. It's not just like we are discussing speculations here. That the posters are already out. You know, even though they deny their own posters. So, who brought them out? So, if you know you don't have an idea of the posters, why not sue those persons that produce those posters?
Or order them to be pulled down.
Not even pulling down. Pulling down, anybody can pull down. Just like in Nigeria, when something happens, the government will tell you they feel our pain. They understand. Meanwhile, they are not there. For me, I think it's unfortunate, but I believe that this is Nigeria for us. You see, we have to look at issues the way they are, especially the issue of restructuring of this country. That is where I have my own challenge. The restructuring, like I said, is the last hope of the Niger Delta. I'm not talking about going my separate way as a Niger Delta. No. But let me get what is due me so that I'll use it for myself and for my children's children. We have read stories, just like you said, in any other oil-producing environment, you have the volume of devastation we have here.
Yeah.
About how many years ago when the Gulf of Mexico was...
Absolutely.
For goodness sake, President Obama said BP must pay, I think, over $200 million to persons of that environment for starters before they even discuss the cleanup.
Yes.
As we speak, that cleanup is almost completed for the Ogoni Road. We are even talking of Ogoni here. We are not even talking about the entire Niger Delta. That means
that's
we want to clean up the Niger Delta. Maybe Mr. Papi don't take the other side of the divide.
No, Jesus for don't come carry us go, sir.
That is the side I'm talking about, because definitely I don't go take this edge again. Because it's unfortunate. If companies develop their host communities elsewhere, how come in Nigeria the reverse is the case? And for the 2023 issue where they say it is only the North that can produce the president, and I tell you this, they should show me that the North has more persons intellectually than the others, and I will show them a native doctor who doesn't have a calabash in his shrine.
as far as I'm concerned, they will only have their way if those of us from this side of the divide, especially the politicians and other religious leaders and some other leaders, allow them to have their way. Because the time comes, just like the Bible, no, I don't want to pray violence this morning. But I believe you have intellectual militancy, and I believe it has worked elsewhere, and it will work here. It is either we restructure this country before 2023, or by 2023, the only option left is from somebody for the Southeast to be the president of this country, and then let's take it up from there.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you very much. Hello. Okay. Well, these things are brought up for the purpose of. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay. These topics are raised so that we can discuss them, and people who don't know will know, and also be able to discuss them, not just when we're on air, but amongst themselves, because it is a right, it is a justifiable right. It is a right that is enshrined in our constitution, not to talk about the United Nations protocol, which Nigeria itself has signed up